procedure for conducting business is this. The petitioner for each item we ask to come forward to the podium, adjust the microphone, state your name, and explain your project. Anyone wishing to speak to the proposal will be asked to come forward and voice their opinions. If there are sides to any project, each side will have 10 minutes to speak. That's not 10 minutes for every person who wants to speak, that's 10 minutes. All comments should be about the project being presented. This is not a venue to air personal grievances. If you hear the gavel, you are out of order. If you persist, you'll be removed from the meeting. Once your request is heard and the board's decision is rendered, you may leave the meeting. However, if you have questions for staff, please wait until the meeting is over to ask them, or you may contact them at the office on the following day. Once public testimony and discussion for a particular item is concluded, the members of the board will deliberate and render a decision. Members with a personal or financial interest in any request are required to recuse themselves from voting. All decisions by the Architecture Review Board are final. Any person having a request for a certificate of appropriateness denied by the board may appeal such denial to the Montgomery County Circuit Court. Any such appeal should be filed at the Circuit Court within 30 days of the receipt of the notice of the final decision of the board. We have almost a full house tonight. Let me introduce our members. First, we have a new member tonight, Sam Yows. Sam, raise your hand. All right. Then Cedric Campbell, Kalia Bell, Elizabeth Brown, Katie Williams, John Hayden. That's it. All right. The land use staff, Paula Wade, Tanya Ingram, and Russell Stringer, the city forester. All right. First project, Calix Vilme, is that correct? He is not here? We're off to a good start. Mario Alvalos.
He's here.
Come on up, sir.
To the microphone there. All right, tell us about your project.
Okay, I didn't know about this house when I bought it. It was a history house, so I started building a 6-foot fence besides my house on it. I don't know what's illegal or is that supposed to on it.
Well, I think the problem is that you can't bring that board fence all the way to the front like you did. It needs to stop at the corner of the house.
Okay.
And then if you wanted to just extend that metal fence back to connect up with the board fence, that would be a good thing too. And you're talking about a porch rail?
Well, this is exceptional. It's just to make it look better, but I don't have to do it, it's fine to me.
Well, I think having a porch rail would probably be nice. I think the only place that you need one, according to code, would be that side that's on the driveway side. It falls off a lot. But a rail across the front, like the one you provided the picture of, that would be nice. 42 inches is too high.
Okay.
So.
Okay. The height is supposed to be, I can make it to it.
All right. We can figure out what that might be and let you know.
Okay.
Okay, but the style of the rail that you proposed is just fine.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
No.
Any comments from the audience?
Huh?
No? All right. May I have a motion then?
All right.
Madam Chair, on this one,
Hang on, Mr. Albert.
we need to talk about the fence. This is the one, the fence goes past the front of the house, all right?
Right, we talked about that.
We did?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't listen.
All right.
I apologize.
That's all right. You were excused completely from
Okay.
listening to me.
So what did you say?
I said he needed to back it up to the corner of the house.
Okay, and he
And then
agreed?
connect up the metal fence. He's
agreed?
so agreeable. He
Okay.
said yes.
All right. Well, I'll make a motion to approve as amended.
All right.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? All right.
And who's going to decide on the porch railing height?
He's gonna work with staff.
Yeah. She's giving you the look.
What is the height? Isn't it usually 30,
I think it's
36?
normally 36.
Okay. She'll be able to work with, I think it's 36, 3 feet,
All right,
something like that, but Ms. Paul will be able to confirm that.
okay, that's fine. What about the fence that's gonna have to come down or this?
The only part of the fence that we're concerned about is the fence that goes from the corner of the house forward.
I can take it out.
Okay.
That's not a big deal.
And you can connect back up to the house at that point.
Line it to the house?
Yes, turn
Okay.
and go to the house.
Yeah.
All right.
All
And
right.
it could be wood or metal.
Mm-hmm. What about the height? That's fine, the 6 foot?
6 feet, good.
6 feet is fine?
6 feet is fine.
At that point, yeah. You may want to put a gate.
All right,
All right. Thank you.
thank you.
Yes. All right. Garrett Smith, Garden District, 1940 Norman Bridge Court. My neighbor.
Ma'am?
I said, I'm your neighbor.
Not mine. I'm just the property manager. So my understanding of what happened was, from the property manager, was that there was some work that needed to be done to the columns, and it was communicated to the contractor just to clean those columns up because they had a fair amount of deterioration to them and they needed to be painted and corrected. And it wasn't brought to my attention that they had been removed. That was not the plan at all when we talked with him, but they were replaced with those two 4x4s and excuse me. And then there was some lattice. If you look to the right side of the house there where those two original columns are on the right-hand side, there was some lattice that had a rose bush that was growing in it. And when they were there cleaning up the property, that lattice had just deteriorated and was fallen. So they removed it, and the rose bush was dead.
Any comments from the audience on this project? Ms. Callaway, thank you.
Laura Callaway, Garden District Preservation Association. We would like to see the columns return to the original configuration unless there's some huge structural reason why they cannot be.
Is there a way that I can get this photo so that we can have it returned to that?
Yes.
And I'm not sure, Gary, if the lattice needs to go back, but I do think the columns, I'm sure the lattice was probably put up there at some point after the house was built for the rose bushes to climb. So, I mean, yes, return it the way it was, but as far as having to, if somebody if somebody wants to come in and add that later, they can come to us and plant rose bushes, but I don't want you to.
So just removal of the two columns in the first photo and return of the one on the side there to the left?
That would be my suggestion, just put it the way it was,
Okay.
minus the lattice work.
All right.
Right now.
I'm sorry. I don't agree.
Okay. May have a problem here, Gary.
Well, I just think that it's a house that has minimal detail, and that the lattice was a nice touch. But other people may disagree with me. Laura, how do you feel about it?
Well, given that the windows have been taken out, it would be nice if we could get back as many of the details as were originally there as we could.
Yes.
So that window replacement, I know that when we had received the initial letter from you guys, when the current owner purchased the property, those windows had already been replaced. That was not a project that he undertook, or the install of that storm door. Those were all things when I initially talked to her when he purchased the property. Those had all already been done. Now, like I said, the lattice and the posts, I was unaware that's what they were going to do to correct the issue, but you know, that we don't have a problem taking it back to that position if that's the way you would like it.
Okay. It gets all that problem right now. You can have a picture. Okay. Well, they're terrible windows, but that's not your fault.
So, Madam Chair, if I understand correctly, the windows as they are not before the board, but if they change the windows, then they would have to come back.
That is correct. All right. Any more comments from the audience? Comments from the board?
I'm not saying nothing.
Haven't gotten into trouble with your first comment. All right.
Been one of those days.
All right. If there's no more discussion of the project, may I have a motion?
So I'll make a motion to replace place the lattice and the columns back to where, like they were previously.
Okay. All right.
Second?
All in favor? Opposed? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kenneth Williams, Garden District, 2095 South Hull Street. And what a handsome house this is. I really like it.
Yeah, I see. Hey, how you doing? All right. Oh, okay.
ready.
Yeah. What's going on is that I'm removing a stair rail and replacing it with a brick column piece coming down, and I'm gonna do the front stairs, and also to the left of that it's a stairwell too that I'm gonna replace and put bricks there, and just bring them down in a nice format to complement the house.
Okay? I think what you're doing is usually called cheek walls because they're on both sides. Is there any comments from the audience on this project?
Laura Calloway with the Garden District Preservation Association. We certainly do not have any objection at all to them bricking the concrete stairs. I think that would be a lovely addition. I do not know exactly what to say about adding the cheek walls that you're talking about, because it does appear that it would obstruct some of the original design work around that entrance, but we will defer to what the experts on the board think about that kind of an alteration. And we are very thankful that y'all have bought this house and that you have done such a beautiful job with it.
Thank you.
Comments from the board?
Madam Chair, help me understand where the cheek wall is going to go. This side and that side? And the other side? Okay.
That's an example of 4D.
Oh, that's too small.
Cedric, look at 4C. He's actually started building it on the right side,
Yeah.
on 4C.
Okay. Okay.
If you look at the pictures, it's got everything on the sides. Any further comments from the board? Any more discussion on this project? Katie, I think you have some concerns.
Well, I kind of agree with the lady that just talked. The cheek walls of the picture submitted starts in line with the floor.
Where they were, where the rails are, the rails were coming loose from the house, and it was actually a safety issue with, just kids and visitors. So the cheek wall is just coming where the rail is, and it's going to work its way down as a rail, pretty much. So it's just going to make it better and actually safer for.
So you're doing the cheek walls, the brick wall as a rail.
Exactly.
All right. It does cover up that really nice, what the British would call short and long work, those little coins on the,
It actually touches it. It actually touches it, and it just a small bit of it, but it comes down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other comments?
Does the mortar match the mortar of the house?
It's very close. You know, doing brickwork, you'll never really match it because everything is always off, but it's as close as it can possibly be.
Because it looks more like it's a gray mortar, and the house looks more like it's a buff mortar.
It's actually once he cleans it, it would all blend. You know, it's just actually dirty. Once they're doing it now, it's just kind of dirty.
Well, from my point of view, I wouldn't have any objection to the cheek walls if they were parallel, if they were not parallel, aligned with the floor rather than coming up. So that if we got a house in the, do you understand what I mean? They sort of contain the steps rather than become the rail, but that's not going to solve your problem of keeping that iron rail anchored in anything,
No.
which I know is always a pain.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it just was actually a very safety, and you know,
Yeah.
just wasn't safe at all.
Further comments from the board? Cedric, surely you have an idea.
I do. I'm trying to keep it to myself.
Now's the time, Sandy.
Finally, honesty from that end.
Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit with it.
My comment is, I actually like it, but I do think the mortar needs to match so that, you know, so that it doesn't stand. And like I heard you say that it's dirty, just make sure that it, you know, closely resembles.
Yeah, those were the questions that I was very concerned about. It's just making it look as if it was built for the house. Yeah.
Well, the brick is a good match, but the mortar, but I can see that he hasn't cleaned it, so.
Yeah, it's real dirty, actually.
Yeah.
So that's a conversation I had with the bricklayer the other day. He said he was going to clean it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, I mean, I've seen in other occasions, you clean it and it kind of gets, you know, aged, dirty all at the same time, so that over time, it does kind of blend in a bit better. I mean, it's hard initially, but you know, if you can do that, and realizing this is new mortar, it's not 50, 60, 70-year-old mortar, so.
How do you plan to, like, bring the wall out? Does it stay at that same height, or does it drop down?
As soon as it steps out, it's almost like a rail. It comes down.
Okay.
And it just actually blends into the stairs. It's going to be the stairs.
Does it, is it like a choppy coming down, or is it going to be kind of a smooth?
It's going to be a smooth sail down. It's going to be a smooth sail down, and it's going to actually fall with the stairs when it comes down.
Are you going to terminate it at the end with like a little pilaster kind of thing, or is it just like stopping?
I'm actually just going to just make sure that it's coming down evenly, and just terminate it right, you know, once it comes down. Yeah.
And you're covering the steps with new bricks, right?
Correct. I also have a question. It's not on here, but it's about my deck. I'm not moving it or anything, But I want to put a screen up. Just, I have a daughter that's disabled that I just want to get out in the evening time sometimes without having to battle the bugs, you know. So I just want to put a screen up. Not change anything with it, but just put a screen up.
That's the back deck?
Back deck.
I don't either. All right, I call for a motion.
Are you thinking about one, ma'am? Anybody? Said, I'll move to approve the request as presented. Understand, Mr. Williams, there have been some tweaking, so you need to make sure that what we've incorporated here in our discussions, get with Ms. Paula, that everything is done. I think it's a bit different than what you've asked for. As far as the screening, that's not before us tonight, so I don't think we can really give you any kind of ruling on that, but, you know. Are you talking about screening in a back porch or a back deck?
It's a deck that's already up. It's just bringing the screen to it, so
Has it got
you
a
can
roof
sit out.
over it?
Did
Excuse
it
me?
come with a roof on it?
Ma'am?
The screen, did it come with a roof on it?
It's wood, all wood.
Is it a covered deck?
It's a cover top.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. There's not any problem with that, that's just maintenance. Yeah.
Anything maintenance really doesn't need to come before the board.
All right, I'm still waiting on a second on your, John, can you go over your motion again?
Yes, ma'am. I move that we approve the project as presented, and Mr. Williams understands that any changes or modifications expressed tonight will be incorporated in the plan.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor? Opposed? All right, thank you.
And Madam Chair, we're saying that the screen is fine.
The screen is fine,
maintenance,
no
so we can
problem
put it
with the screen.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
A non-issue, exactly. All right. George Theodoratos, Old Cloverdale, 1131 Magnolia Curve.
Hello.
We're ready.
All right. I'm here for a violation of replacement of the windows, all 13 of them on the property. Purchased a home back in October of 2021. Tenant vacated the property at the end of last year. Went inside to do some renovations.
Can you speak into the microphone?
My
I'm sorry, I'm
apologies.
having trouble hearing you.
I went to do some renovations in the interior of the home, found the house in despair, noticed that all the windows were leaking water and rotting the home. I moved accordingly, replaced all the windows without talking to the committee. I am from out of town. Wasn't aware it was in a historic district, so this is all new to me. So I'm here to see what options we have as far as the windows are concerned.
Is there anyone from the audience to comment on this project?
Good evening, Rob Hesse from the Old Cloverdale Association. We oppose the changes. The windows are vinyl. They have a grid in between the dual panes, but the grid is green, not white. They don't match. This is a duplex. Half of the duplex, he's changed the windows, half he has not. But all the windows are visible from Girard and Magnolia Curve. It's
Yeah.
a corner home.
Yeah.
And it's in a very visible part of the neighborhood, and they just don't match the historic value of our neighborhood. And I thought he was bringing a sample of the windows tonight for an alternative, but from one of the neighbors, I've learned that he was given a stop work order with one set of windows and then changed the windows again and changed the back door after the stop work order. So has no regard for the historic value of the neighborhood as far as we're concerned, and would like the windows replaced to a historic window.
I'd like to say that as soon as the stop work order was issued, we stopped. It's just on the last window, so I'm not very sure where that came from. As far as regard to the charm of the neighborhood, I would like to preserve it. That's what attracted me to it from out of town, obviously. I would like to know if there's something we could do to remedy this other than replacing all 13 windows. The rear door I can take care of, yes.
Okay.
Madam Chair, previously we looked at not similar windows, but windows that did have a grid in between the panes and looked at placing the grid on the outside. Is that something that the petitioner could possibly bring back, table at this meeting and bring back, let us look at?
Yes, I don't like the windows. They're just not the right, I don't know, they're what, 9/9s instead of 6/6s also? Aren't the original windows?
6/6s.
Yeah.
I think the
All
original was
6/6s.
6/6
They
as
were
well.
6/6, ma'am.
Yeah. They need to be 6/6 windows. And we've approved clad windows, vinyl clad windows or aluminum clad windows many times. It's not my preference, but, you know, everybody has I have one vote on the Architecture Review Board. I'd have you fixing your wooden windows. But it's gonna have to have a grid on the outside. Now, maybe you can get grids that will fit these windows that could be installed on the outside that would be 6/6.
But you don't want to see the 9/9.
But no, I don't want to see the 9/9. It's just wrong. And I don't, talk with your window people and see what they can do to ameliorate these windows so that you don't have to replace them all. And the door that's on the back, go back to something that looks like the door that's on the other side. I don't know why all of a sudden everybody's decided that a demi-lume door is what they want to put on their historic building, and that's a little more modern than the house that we're looking at now. Does anyone have any other comments on this project? Or from the audience, comments on this project? You're going to have to come back.
Okay, I have to fly back from New York. Is that going to be soon, or I had to fly down for this?
I couldn't understand
Yeah,
you.
to fly down for this from New York.
Do you have a contractor on site that can present this for you?
He left, he finished. In regards to the other side of the property, I have not done any work on that because the tenant is still there. When the tenant does vacate, rest assured, I will follow the proper protocol. When it comes to any sort of modification or renovation to the exterior of the property, knowing that it's in a historic district now.
George, how long do you think it may take you to consult with your window person to try to talk about the possible fixes that have been discussed tonight? I don't want to have you to come back any more than you have to.
I think within a month's time should be more than enough time to get it done. Just to be clear, we're trying to see if we could insert grid on the outside of the windows to, okay. I think a month's time is more than enough.
Paula, when's our meeting next month?
March
please?
28th.
March 28th? You think that'll be enough time? You want to put it on the April schedule?
Keep in mind that we're not talking 9/9, we're talking the 6/6. So it may need to be a sash replacement. Because you just can't slap the 6/6 on top of that 9/9 window.
Well, they'd have to take that 9/9 out.
It's between the windows.
Ladies and gentlemen, replacing these windows will be a very big problem for me financially. Also, I need to know, what options I have because replacing all of them is going to be, almost impossible for me at the moment. That is, invested all the money I have in the property renovating it.
Well, I am sorry, but the windows are, often, 20% or more of the exterior of the house, and it's important that they look correct. Yes.
I was just going to remind the board that the 9x9 grid is in between the two
Right.
windows and it's green, so it doesn't really show up in these photos, but it does show up from the street. So,
I drove by.
okay.
Okay, I have a question. Have we ever allowed someone to replace a 6/6 with a 9/9 if it was all uniform across the, throughout everything? Because the 6/6 does match the back door, which kind of is different. But have we ever done that before?
I don't think all the windows. I think that we've had some windows that didn't match on the backs of houses, which are not seen from the public way. But we've got two walls here. This is a fairly exposed elevation.
Right.
I should think that they would all need to match.
Right. Oh, no. I'm saying if he were to keep the 9/9s, could he make everything 9/9, including the back doors, to make everything uniform? Could he change from the 6/6s to the 9/9s? Have we ever allowed someone to go from a 6/6 to a 9/9?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not that I remember.
Yeah, we can.
How do you change the color is my question. Because the color being different is a totally different violation. Because is it part of our color scheme?
For the grid, that is, and the interior of the window?
Yes.
I believe that could be changed. I think we could change that.
Okay.
And then
well,
implement grids on the outside if the 9/9 could be overlooked.
it kind of sounds like this needs to be tabled until you get a little more information about what can actually happen with your windows. Because everything else is speculation to this point.
And the window person can come in your stead. So he can come and discuss this with us.
Yeah, sure.
I'd recommend just getting with your window person and telling them what the board has to say about the 9/9 versus 6/6 and see if they can't help you with a remediation or remedy for it. But just know whoever comes next meeting, you've heard some of the comments, so just make sure, if it was me, I would come. That's what I'm trying to say.
All right. So,
And again, I just want to make sure you have enough time to do this, given that you're living out of state. Our next meeting is March 28th. The April meeting
April
is
25th.
April 25th. And that would be, March would be about 30 days, and April would be about 60 days. Which would you prefer? Because we're gonna table this and move it to one of those dates.
The April month would be good then if there's not going to be any sort of, extended.
Okay. Because in construction, anything like this, things happen and delays. The one thing you can be rest assured about any project, expect delays because they're going to happen. So April 25th, the April day. All right. Madam Chair, I move that we table this request until our date meeting, April 25th of this year.
Second.
all in favor? Opposed? Thank you. And I'm sorry that we've come to this.
Thank you for your time.
Bethany and Will Knowlton, Cloverdale Idlewild, 3360 Montezuma Road.
Good evening. Oh, I wish that photo was brighter. Dang. Can't see anything there. Okay, so first on the agenda, we have a couple items. First is we're going to install 32 feet of gutters on the south side of the house. So if you're looking at that photo, it's the left side of the house. Do you want me to continue talking about this one? Okay.
That's a kind of a pro forma thing. Yes, you can have gutters. So
Okay. So skip.
you can go on to the next one.
Okay, next one, that's a better photo. Next one is we're gonna do, redo our fence in the backyard. Currently only one side of the fence is our own. So we're gonna remove the lattice fence that is on our own property, and then we're going to come in on our line and just put in our own 6-foot privacy fence. And like you said, there were no comments on that one.
Hang
Next.
on, whoa, on the fence,
Yep.
did you say you wanted to bring it, looking at the house, you wanted to bring it 6, 7 feet tall on the left-hand side?
We were gonna do a 7-foot tall with a gate on the left side of the property if you're facing the property from the street.
Okay.
So in that photo right there, right next to the house, so basically right in the center of the photo where that lattice fence is, remove that, that's where our new gate is gonna be.
Is that your fence there?
So the fence that's running parallel to the yellow house right there, that is not our fence.
Okay.
The lattice one is.
But the lattice one that runs
That's
from,
the corner.
that's the border, correct?
Okay. You want to replace that lattice with the 7-foot?
Correct,
7-foot, okay, right.
correct. That's the only section that would be 7 feet though. It's just that section with the gate.
Yeah, just to have more privacy from the view of the road, so just the gate side.
Okay.
Got it.
Is it 7 feet higher than allowed?
Yeah, you're gonna have to go to the Board of Adjustment for 7 feet.
The board of what?
The Board of Adjustment.
No, ma'am.
No, no?
No, ma'am. No variance is required for the 7 foot.
Okay, thank you.
It's 8 feet.
Well, the reason I asked, I didn't think they needed a variance, but I didn't think that 6 is standard. 6 feet is standard. You're asking for 7 on one side. That's why I was asking, because
There have been opportunities or times when y'all have approved higher fences for grade changes, things like that. So it's really at your discretion.
Why the difference between 6 and 7 feet right there?
For increased privacy from the view of the road. Because that part of the house you can see from the road, so we just wanted to have it a little higher to have some more privacy in the backyard. But the rest of the fence will be 6 foot.
Okay. All right, you're doing a good job. Keep rolling.
Okay, our next item on the list is we would like to add about 160 square feet to our driveway so we can park 2 cars in parallel. The proposed idea is that we would just cut a little ear into the grass and lay down some tan pea gravel to match our driveway color and outline the
T. Go ahead, sir.
outline the proposed addition in brick, just like the driveway, and the sidewalk is also outlined in brick also. So if you're looking at that photo, right where the shade is, the shade's covering the yard, we would just add a little gravel area. We think this would be better than parking on the grass like the rest of our neighbors.
I live in your neighborhood, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I wish I had the room in my yard to do this, so my wife and I could actually park 2 cars in the front yard. And I think that it's 8 feet by 27, or 8 feet wide, approximately 27 feet long, bordered with the red brick that is.
That's
you
correct.
You have some, I don't know if you can match, I don't know if the bricks on your current driveway actually match, but.
So since this photo's been taken, we've actually pressure washed the driveway, and the color is much brighter and much lighter than that. And so we would probably not go with that color of gravel. The driveway is very tan, and it would match that sort of tan pea gravel that's in all of the Cloverdale driveways.
And you were mentioning the bricks. I think we could reuse those bricks that are lining the driveway right there and put them on the outside, so they will all match.
Well, because it's pea gravel, it's gonna move. Nothing, and you'll probably have to rake it occasionally because you're gonna have ruts in the middle of it, but, I mean, it's something that can be worked with.
You can get crushed river rock instead, and since it's irregular pieces, they pack. You know, pea gravel is always like, you know, you're going up to your ankles all the time, but the crushed river rock will look more like gravel. It'll be an irregular shape and it'll pack. I'm not happy about you parking in the front yard.
Say that again?
I'm not happy about everybody parking in the front yard. When I first moved to Auburn, Dr. Drawn's secretary lived around the corner from me, and she gave me a lecture on students parking in the yard. You know, we did that, and I've never forgotten it. And we've got too many driveways in the front yard. We've got too many parking pads in the front yard. I don't know why we don't just pave the whole front yard and just be done with it. Then we don't have to cut it. But I'm not. You've made an agreement with John down there, and plenty of people on the board may agree, but I'm not agreeing.
Well, I'm with you, Ms. Brown. I'm not in favor of that.
We have 2
in the front yard.
cars. We have 1 driveway. We back into the street. It's just a nuisance, but that's what we do. My next door neighbors had 3 teenage children, and they all had cars. So 5 cars backing out into the street and rearranging and going back in.
We did that.
Yep.
It's a nice yard. You hate to kill
It
it
is,
for,
and your
for
house is
parking.
small, so you've essentially given over half of the front space of your house to a parking lot.
Although we would be giving up space, I will kindly disagree that it will not be half of the yard. And if it would help, any suggestion from the council, we could plant, around it so it wouldn't be visible, or any suggestion to make it work. We are completely open to ideas.
Yeah, we'd be open to planting bushes around the border of it to conceal it a little more if that would improve the appearance of it. Yeah, we're open to suggestions.
All right, keep rolling.
Okay, our 4th project is converting our carport to a garage. So we have a carport next to the house, and we would just close it in, add a garage door in the front and a French door in the back to make it into a garage. And the outside, the exterior of the garage would be the same board and batten design that's on the side of the house and on several areas of the house. It would be made with hardy board, and it would be those same colors, the brown and the cream, just following that same pattern on all the sides. Right now we have the traditional steel door on the front, which would be painted the cream color just like the house, and the French door in the back, the trim on it will be painted the brown to match the trim on the house. And I know there were some comments about the street-facing garage door, and we've been through the neighborhood, seen lots of garages with garage doors facing the street, and we are open to suggestions to make this happen. If the design of the garage door is an issue, we're very much open to a barn door that opens from the middle with windows or something that ties into the historical character of the neighborhood. We're open to that. So that's what we got.
Any comments from the audience? Mr. Colvin, I know you're glad to see the warm weather.
He's gonna wear shorts anyway.
I was gonna say,
It didn't matter.
in Cloverdale, Idlewild, if I'm wearing long pants, you know it's cold. If Charlie's wearing long pants, look for the glacier because it's coming.
It's snowing.
Otherwise, he's in shorts.
Charlie Colvin with the Cloverdale Idlewild Association, the CIA. Certainly, we don't have any problem with the gutters or with the, what was the second item?
The fence.
The fence. As far as the garage is concerned, it looks like they've gone to a lot of work to get it to tie in. Our concern is that you end up with that big fat front, and so that's got to be treated fairly delicately if we're going to approve of the garage. The door needs to be more than just a flat steel door, which seemed to be what they originally talked about. And we don't care for the parking lot in the front. We just would prefer to leave the driveway in the grass and let it sit. We've had a number of those come before the ARB here recently. We even had one a few months ago where we actually had them take the gravel and put sod back down. So we would prefer not to widen the driveway and put a parking pad in front.
Any other comments from the audience?
As far as the doors
You
for
need
the
to
front,
state your name, please.
Charles Adams.
Okay.
As far as the doors for the front of the garage, we're gonna probably change it up and just do a barnyard door like the Mitchell has on their house on Maston. And at the very bottom, it will be the stucco, just like what's on the house. And as far as the driveway in the front, it's gonna be hauled in with some limestone packed, and then the pea gravel will be bordered with bricks. And that won't give a way for the gravel washing off. It'll stay in place, and it'll be just like a border. And we were thinking about doing on the other side a little spot around by where his ferns at that would match that, and it won't take away from the house. That's all.
Thank you. Where do we have these garages?
I would like to add one more thing. According to Charles, our contractor, the ARB recently approved a closed-in carport closed into a garage on Fairview and Maston. So if that's not true, then let me know. But that's in our neighborhood.
So we may be doing that, but I don't think that we've approved any garages closed in.
A carport.
A carport's closed in.
Have we done that? Paula?
I think what got closed in was a walkway. There was wasn't that right? There was an open walkway between the house and the garage. It was an open walkway. It was carport, and it closed in with the barnyard door. And even before the board, it was.
I don't recall that.
I don't remember that.
I don't either.
How long ago? Oh, it's been a while.
It was actually closed on three sides.
Okay.
It wasn't a carport. More of a building.
So I commend y'all for not being in violation. We appreciate that, and coming before the board before doing any decisions. We appreciate that very much. Again, the first two items, no problem at all. I would have to say, I used to live on Montezuma. Our first house we bought was 3264 Montezuma, and it did not have a carport. It had a garage. It seems like most houses of this era had a garage in the back corner, and then the parking pad was in the back. Our house there and our house on Agnew both had garages that were in the back and in the carport stayed a carport. You know, a porte-cochere, whatever you want to call it. I don't believe I've seen any carports or porte-cocheres of this nature in this style house be enclosed. And I don't believe that that is the best thing in keeping with this neighborhood.
Madam Chair, you want to take these one at a time? It might be a little cleaner, because I know we have some, maybe have some different views on certain things. We have, I think, 4 things: the gutters and downspouts, privacy fence, the driveway, and the carport alteration 4. Is that?
I don't think anybody has any objection to gutters.
The first
or
two,
privacy
no.
fence, so that's all.
I have objection to the height of the fence, the 7 foot versus 6 foot.
I tend to agree it should probably maintain the 6 feet. It's going to be a weird transition there somewhere along the way. But I do have a major problem with enclosing a carport, and also a major problem with the parking. In this area, I've had several houses in this area, and everyone parks with this kind of widening of the deal in the back of the house.
Well, can we still go point by point so that we can hurry up and get through this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my point is, I would not put the widening of the driveway in the front of the house. I would do it in the back of the house, and if you wanted a garage, create a garage in the back of the house.
I don't think she can do that, because I think the grade changes.
Oh, never mind.
We're just seeking to, secure our property, and we need a place to store garden tools and bikes and lawnmowers, and, we want to be in accordance with the council, and that's all.
And we've heard what could happen to your car if you park it on the street. So we're just trying to protect what we have and have a better place to store it.
Well, I've already stated what I think. This is a nice carport. It has good proportions. Making those columns chunky rather than thin really gave it a quality look. It looks like something that an architect who knew what he was doing at least sketched on the back of a napkin. I think that the garage is going to be clunky and ugly and not an asset to the neighborhood, although I can understand why you want to do it.
And I don't believe there's any precedent for that either.
You say you see a lot of garages. I found 2. I drove around and looked, and both of them, it was, well back from the facade, and one of them was a new house that was approved. It wasn't an old house.
Can we make motions on the things that we're going to approve and maybe table some other things so maybe they can bring pictures or something? Because there are things that they can do, but we're not really making any motions.
That's fine with me. Would you like to make one?
I move that items 1 and 2, with exception of the height, I think it does need to be 6 feet instead of the 7 feet, but I move that we approve those 2 items for them to do.
Second?
Second.
Second.
All right. All in favor? All right. Now, let's just go one at a time. What about the gravel pad in the front yard for parking?
I'd move we deny that one, Madam Chair.
Okay.
You have to state a reason.
I think it'd take away from the character of the house.
All right. And may I have a second to that motion?
Can we amend it for them to resubmit, possibly to put a parking pad in the back of the house?
Sure, I'd be fine with that.
Can you get to the back of the house?
There's currently a cement barrier if you scroll to the photos.
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought I saw a little low wall.
And that wouldn't really solve the problem. The problem is we're trying to park 2 cars in parallel.
Yeah.
So if you moving it to the back wouldn't solve the problem because they're still in series.
You want to be able to park one car in the garage and one car outside of the garage? Or do you want to be able to close off the garage and then park 2 cars in the driveway?
So ideally, we would have the garage, a car could park in there, and then a car could park to the side of the driveway. So you could have two cars side by side. One can get in and out. You know, we can have family over and have plenty of space to park.
Okay,
off the street
so
and come in and out.
when you say to the side, I thought you were speaking in front of the house. What, is that what you were saying? Or is it to the outside of the?
It's in front of the house. I meant to the side of the driveway.
Okay.
Maybe you could scroll to a
So
different.
6T, Mike,
Yes.
Mike?
6T.
There you go.
Okay, gotcha. Question. The area, I don't know where your property line is. If you did it on the opposite side, would you all be opposed to that area over there that's kind of?
So if you're talking about the area to the, right now we're looking at the left of the driveway, we're talking about the area right of the driveway.
Yes.
I don't know who has majority ownership of that land. It's wide enough to park a car, but I don't think it's us.
Yeah, I don't think there's space on our side of the property for
Okay.
a full car.
Yeah, it looks like you've got maybe 6 feet and they have 2 feet. If you look at the property lines, Katie called up the map.
Yeah.
All right, there's a motion on the board to disallow the parking pad because it is not consistent with the character of that neighborhood.
Has that motion been seconded, Madam Chair?
It has not been. I'll second it. All right, all in favor? Opposed? All right. We lost Cedric.
What is still?
All right, if that's not the
No
case,
motion.
if someone needs to make a motion about the parking pad in an affirmative.
Move. Go ahead, please.
I move, no, question. Can we, can we table this and you find some pictures of, or the picture, the house that he was talking about where things were approved? I mean, you know.
Yeah, we got them.
So we have a lot of pictures here from walking around in the neighborhood, looking at both driveway additions and garages that have doors facing the street.
Y'all better say something.
And, well, we
got
them.
Come on.
And so I'd also want to say we don't know for sure which of these have been approved or not, but we see them, they're here, so, yeah. So we're just showing these to say that our proposed changes would fit in with what we see in the neighborhood.
You're unfortunately coming at the end of a long string of people wanting to pave their front yards.
Can
So
you want to start? and
we're
then
just over
pull
it.
'em down?
So are there lots of, like, grandfathered in
There
or
are lots
something?
of-
'Cause
Yes, there are a lot of grandfathered in things. There are a lot of things that were never approved in the first place.
Okay.
Cloverdale, Ottawa became a historic district. Charlie, what was it, about 1998, 1999? Something like that. You had several alterations to houses and yards that, yes, when it became a historic district, the board in the city couldn't go to people that had large parking pads. I mean, on Hubbard Street, there is a home there that is gravel. Of course, you couldn't do that today, but there's nothing that anyone could do about it because it was that way prior to it becoming a historic neighborhood. So, yeah, and there were also some very nice, wild, and wonderful colors in the neighborhood, including pinks and Peptos and all that. So, yes, there are some things that were done that, now I don't know where the photographs came from, whether they were, you know, prior to the historic designation, whether they had been approved or whether they had done something and, you know, we just don't know if it's in violation, but.
This is side of the house too. I mean, that's essentially in their backyard. Boy, these concrete front yards look bad.
Yeah, it's definitely not helping.
Mm-mm. This is another one that's on the side, and that one's in the back. You know, it's just your carport is big. It's gonna look big on the front of the house. It's gonna look bigger than your house. When you, it's.
How much backyard do they have?
However, with these garage doors,
He built them by hand.
wow, very handsome, very handsome.
Question, your backyard, tell me about your backyard. Is it? Oh, I'm sorry. Tell me about your backyard. What does it do? How much space is back there? Is it graded, like, because from the pictures, I can't tell how much backyard you have.
It's pretty similar in size to the front yard, I'd say.
There's some photos, if you scroll up to the fence, there should be an aerial photo of where we drew an outline of the backyard, perhaps. It's not large, and it's mostly grass, and right behind the carport is a brick patio.
Gotcha.
New house in the backyard.
I'm looking.
No?
I was thinking 6H. That's not it. Are you talking about like the picture showing the back patio with the table and chairs and the fence? This picture?
There should be a drawing of the fence too, an overview. It can't be more than half an acre though. It's pretty small.
You talking about the parcel map? Sir? This page?
No, if this is what I'm not sure exactly what you're looking for, but there was a drawing for the fence of the backyard that shows the lines, yeah, right there. This one.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know if that helps
Well, we
visualize it.
actually looked, Cedric pulled up a picture, and it doesn't look like y'all have anything back there.
Sorry, what?
Oh, I'm sorry. We pulled up a picture, and it just doesn't look like you all have anything back there. Like, there's there's no room. There's nothing we could.
So on the top right corner of the proposed layout drawing, that area where the legend is raised up about a foot. There's like a raised garden bed area, and there's a gravel like seating area with a little fire pit, and on the left side of the house at the very back, there's a small tool shed, very small, maybe 5 by 8. Don't know how long it's been there, and then some light landscaping along the left side of the fence, ferns, palms, small evergreens.
And there is a raised bed, you might have mentioned this, that goes along that right side of the yard also, right when you go through the carport. That leads to the seating area with the fire pit.
So, Madam Chair, we had one motion that didn't pass.
Yes.
So I'm assuming we're waiting for someone to make another motion.
Move to approve the parking space in the front as presented.
Yep.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? All right, it passes.
No, ma'am.
No, it
It's
didn't.
4-3. No, ma'am.
4-3. It doesn't.
Well,
Yeah. Yes.
may I have, yes, sir.
Can you come up to the mic? Yeah, please.
And the carport park, they got a water problem. The water runs down and it sits right there in the garage. With them putting an enclosed garage there, we have to put a drain and they have a border around to keep the water from coming off the yard next door to them and the water running down from the driveway. I mean, it's a bad water problem. It's like they had to come out their front door when it rained. So that's basically what they're trying to help out, to divert the rain from coming down in their house, and then by putting anything in the backyard, it stay wet back there a lot. So it'll be hard for them to even put a parking pad in the back. You know, they in between two houses that's dumping the water right on them.
Charlie, what did y'all say again? No parking pad, yes on the garage, is that it?
I'm sorry, say again?
You said no parking pad, right?
That would be our view.
But yes on the garage.
I think the garage will be made to look good and fit. Charles, we know Charles, he does good work. It's got to, that front, it just can't be a big blank door. It's got to be tastefully done, however but the parking in the front is just not in character with what we want. We have a lot of people in the neighborhood that have the parking tandem, have to decide who goes out first and who goes in first. It's very common. The way we live.
At this point, y'all can delay the parking pad until next month and hope that we have more members or different members to see if we could get a motion that could pass.
What was that again? I'm sorry, Ms. Richardson.
Wade?
I mean, oh my goodness, you're right, Ms. Wade.
All right, in order to approve the garage, in order to even consider the garage, it's such a big change, you need to have elevations, you know, the sides of the building drawn. We need to have something that we can really see in order to discuss. It's not just, oh, we're going to close up the carport. It needs to be delineated. And anything that you can do to provide character rather than it just being a rolling garage door, you know, going up in a modern garage door. The proportions of it and everything has to be more on the historic side. And you took a lot of pictures, and there are some old garages there, and I would take my clues, even though they're very simple, but take your clues from that rather than the modern suburban, you know, double wide garage door on the front.
So we want the elevations that they
Ms. Bell,
provided.
pull your microphone.
We want the elevations that they provided to be colored. Do you want them in color, or are you just wanting them to be more of an architectural caliber? Because we have 6 wide through 6
wide, yellow.
Those are 1 by 6s for the board and batten.
Okay.
It's 6 inches wide. It's 10 foot. It's 10 foot in between each column.
Okay.
And the board and batten is the same as what's up top. But what we'll come down with, you'll come down with 2 bands that will make it not look like a big wide space, and then you'll come up with an elevation of blocks stucco with a band at the bottom. Okay. So it'll basically look exactly like the house. It is not just going to be a wide open in the front. You already have an arch there. So what we're going to do is put a beam over the top, and then do, you know, if we can't do the metal doors, do the barnyard doors.
Okay.
And, you know, and bring it down it'll be about 10 feet wide, maybe about 8 feet high. And it'll have that same design.
Is that
with the board and batten on the top of it.
Is that to scale because your 8 foot tall looks taller than your 10 foot wide?
No, it's 10 foot wide.
Yeah.
The opening is.
And how tall?
And it's 10 foot tall.
That appears to say
No, it's 8
feet.
foot tall, I mean.
Okay.
It's 8 foot tall.
The 8 feet tall looks taller in this picture than the 10 foot wide.
No, actually, it's 9 foot.
You know what I'm saying?
It's 9 foot.
That proportion is not, it's the opposite.
Well, actually, it's not the opening, it's got a 10 8-foot opening,
Already
not
been
12 foot. This is
Yes,
what
I
goes
realize that, but
okay.
it's 8 foot.
Yeah.
Does that look like a, it looks
It
taller.
could be the
8-foot tall, yeah.
camera. All right, needs to be the scale, the roof needs to be on it. You don't have to draw the house, but an outline of the house on the drawing would be appropriate so that we can get the scale of those two pieces together.
So the same caliber as 6Z, the same caliber drawing as 6Z, because 6Z tends to be, it looks like a cleaner representation of what they're trying to do, that has the roof on it and everything?
Yes, yes.
So you just need to add that roof line across the top and clean up your dimensions so that they're clear.
So, I don't know what page this is in your drawing, but so
6Y.
so you need 6Y to have different dimensions, and you want to see the roof.
See the roof and just clear up, just make sure we know exactly what your dimensions are.
Okay.
Because like we're up here discussing what they are, but y'all know what they are. So just make sure it's clear as to what it is so we don't have to discuss it.
Can we still do them in the fashion we did? You know, we're not architects. I don't want.
Right.
No, this is good. This
I was
is
gonna
fine.
say, your 6Z is great, but like your 6Z has that roof on it, so we know where the roof is and we see how everything fits together, but on 6Y, we don't have the roof. So if you could just add that line that, you know, that represents the roof and just clean up your numbers a little bit, that's all.
Yeah, the dimensions of the garage door are definitely, there's something wonky there. The 8 feet tall and the 10 feet wide, is, I think you flipped the numbers or something.
The dimensions are correct, but it's not to scale.
Okay.
The numbers are right, it is 10 feet wide, it is 8 feet tall, but it's not
So then
exactly to
it
scale.
needs to be to scale.
Okay.
Think you can get this done? Next meeting is March 28th, about 4 weeks from today. Do you think you can get this done, or would you like to put this meeting on the April 25th agenda?
We can get this done in a day, so yeah, March is great.
Well, can we approve it and say they have to bring in the drawings before he starts construction?
You need to delay it, Kalia.
Okay, I'm asking.
No, they have it, as long as I have the drawings by March 6th, then it will be included in your agenda for March 28th.
Okay, I didn't know whether they were under time constraints with their contractor, so that's why I was asking.
That's your 8 by 10 door. It's significantly smaller than that. You're showing like a 10 by 12. It's about 4 feet lower than what you're showing. So what you're showing may look pleasant in scale, but it's the wrong scale. And that's not pleasant.
Madam Chair, I move that we table the carport alterations discussion until March 28th.
Second?
I'll second that.
You said table?
All in favor?
You said
Table it. Table it.
That's to delay it till next month.
Correct.
And just know you still have to get 5 votes. I'll go ahead and go on record that I will not be before it, but it's more than 5 people up here. I don't want you to think that you're wasting your time if you come back and I vote against it.
Yeah, right now I'm not for it unless something significantly changes.
All right, we still need a motion on the driveway, either to delay for more board members or further discussion.
Move that we delay that until next month. In case there are more or different board members, it can be revoted.
All in favor?
I need a second.
Oh, second. Thank you. All in favor? All right.
Opposed?
Okay.
Sam, how'd you vote?
Thank
In
you.
favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for the audience patience.
Thank you for your information.
Doug Godwin, Capitol Heights, 1820 Madison Avenue. Mr. Godwin, what have you for us today?
Excuse me?
What have you got for us today?
Okay. My proposal, let me start out by saying I purchased this house for a residence.
Toward your mouth.
Move
Mr.
the
Godwin, we
microphone.
can't hear you.
We can't hear you. There we go.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Yes, I purchased this property as a residence back in November. And I love the house. It was constructed in 1925. And, but it has no outside storage. And over the last several years, I have collected quite a few things that probably should be under a shelter.
All right.
In the right rear corner of the property, there is a existing concrete slab, probably the original carriage house. And my proposal is to construct on that carriage house a 16 feet wide by 20 feet deep, with the first 10 feet of it being a covered porch and the rear half of it being for storage. I told them when I turned in my drawings not to laugh at my artwork, that my drafting is a little bit rusty, but my erasing skills have gotten real good lately.
Yeah. I think you're drafting them fine. We get lots worse than that.
Yeah, I think those are turned sideways, but yeah.
That's all right. I can do that.
Mine was worse than that.
Is there anyone from the audience to speak to this project? All right. And you've got there's a slab back there already.
There is a slab back there already. The slab is 17 feet and 3 inches by 20 feet and 8 inches. So I'll just be setting back in about 6 to 8 inches front and back on that.
All right. Comments from the board?
Mr. Godwin, are you going to have any electricity in this storage shed?
Not at this time.
Okay.
I
No plumbing or water, just strictly storage in the...
Just strictly storage.
And the porch to sit down and drink coffee, I guess?
Barbecue.
Barbecue.
Have a libation in the afternoon, maybe. Sounds good.
Does the board want to discuss the dimensions for the rails and columns on the porch?
This is the porch for the storage? Or-
Yes.
The
picture
porch,
back there?
yeah, the
Cedric.
porch column dimensions are 4x6s with a 6-inch width facing front, and the railings are 2x4.
How high, do you know?
It's a shed in the backyard.
Was that in the packet?
It's in the backyard.
It was in the packet, that drawing?
Yes. They were large packets that y'all were sent with your agenda. Would you like to see my copy? They were sent separate from your agenda.
So you heard the discussion about the 6/6 vinyl windows on the prior project. I see you have 6/6 vinyl windows. Will the muttons be on the outside?
Yes, that's it. You've got it.
No.
Was there a response on the railing that I missed?
2x4s.
2x4s?
Yeah. I mean, it's a garden shed.
My only
He's not putting it on the front porch.
Yeah, my only concern though is,
I
you're
just
not
wanna make
supposed
sure
to
I
have
didn't
them a foot apart like that.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of a.
What's the spacing? What is it?
Well, typically, if you have, it doesn't need rails at all,
Mm-hmm.
but if you have rails, I thought it was supposed to be at, to where a 4-inch ball can't pass through. But I'm not positive on that. That would be, a code issue.
Yes. That's not our job. May I have a motion on this project, please?
I move to approve as submitted.
Second.
All in favor? Excellent. Go and build your, and we'll be looking forward to that barbecue. You're welcome.
Have a great night.
Finally, Church of the Ascension.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Are y'all ready?
Yes.
We're ready.
So last summer, we came before you and presented this project, or the beginnings of this project, and you allowed us to go ahead and take down the structure at 1414 South Hole with the mandate that we come back in 6 months with the completely designed project. Thank you for the 1 month that you gave us to get this to you. We want to present this to you tonight. It is been a very exciting time. We're 5 months into the full capital campaign project, which is a $2.5 million investment. With this particular piece, that is the only visible piece to the Garden District and the city at large, coming in around about a $1 million investment that we're really excited about in bringing some beauty and that theological understanding of good stewardship with creation, as well as just that feeling of the gardens and how God is enacting God's life into our neighborhood. So we're really excited that we've been able to get to do this so far. I've invited my friend and parishioner and fellow Garden District neighbor to give you the more technical aspects of this, because he is much more fluent in that language than I am.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Richard Norris. If we could go to the elevations of Joshua House.
Mike, that's the 7. No, I didn't say number 7. You'll just need to open those 7, all 7.
Richard, was it that was the one you wanted?
There should be plans and elevations.
Skip the, go to the drawings.
Yeah.
He's working on it. Mike,
Mhm.
there's a
Technical difficulties.
I understand, no problem.
My apologies, they're not in the folder where I needed them to.
No problem. All right. Joshua House is a relatively new structure. It's not a historic structure. It was built in the late 90s. We are making, or we are proposing several changes to it. First of all, across the front, we would like to add new leaded glass doors on the north and the south elevations. And they will be in a pre-finished aluminum window, bronze color, which will match existing windows on the existing church. Along the back, new 10-foot tall wood-clad French doors. Those would be on the north side, as I said. And they will be a pre-finished bronze. They will have simulated true divided light divisions with interior and exterior grills in a pattern and similar to the new and existing windows. The cavity in the center will be insulated glass, and it will have interior spacers, space bars. There will be new custom ornamental iron canopies on all existing and new doors with copper roofs. A raised bluestone terrace along the north side of the building, that's the back side, on the other side from the parking lot, and new and existing mechanical equipment screens with walls, covering up HVAC units in various places. Now, if we could go to the new landscape plan. And that was the first slide that was up. There we go. That's it. Yay. So this is the landscape plan, which we're very excited about. This is at 1414 South Hall. First of all, the grading and drainage is being engineered by Speaks and Associates. There will be low stucco retaining walls with cast stone caps similar to others around the campus. The walks and the stairs, similar to others on the campus, will have aggregate embedded in the concrete. There is a niche for a fountain.
For a what?
Fountain, water fountain.
Okay.
Several Gothic post lanterns to match the existing ones that exist around the campus. New landscaping, which you see there, including trees, shrubbery, and grass. The landscape has been designed by Fairleigh Reinhardt. We are proposing a pre-finished hardy trim fence to replace the existing fence that is there right now. It will have a 10-foot height at the lowest point on the west side, and the height will gradually decrease as it slopes up to the east. And we realize that we may need to pursue a variance with the Board of Adjustment for that.
Is the back of the lot, isn't it like way down from that street that I can't think of the name of that goes?
Hull.
No, this is not the whole street. I'm talking about the cross street.
McDonald?
No, that goes by, on the corner where Bobby's old apartments were.
Yeah, the alley.
Yes.
Is it Maury?
Marbury?
Maury. I think it is Maury.
Yeah. We are requesting to remove the existing trees because of their placement in regards to our design and of their age. The new tree plantings are positioned to provide maximum amount of sunlight for the garden while contributing back to the canopy that will be removed. The trees that we are specifying have a lifespan of at least 100 years. And if you see right there in the corner, in the northwest corner, there's 3 willow oaks and then 1 on the east side. Everything that we have planned with this is to match the existing 115-year-old historic structure.
I don't understand
Sure.
wood-clad doors. Is it just a wood door?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, with the leaded inserts.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're so used to saying clad everything,
I know.
but instead we're going to have a really good door. Well, I'm sort of distressed about the loss of the great big tree.
I can understand that. Would you like me to speak to that?
Can I ask, before you do?
Sure.
Mr. Stringer, I know water oaks are indigenous to the area. What about a ginkgo, sycamore, or river birch? To Montgomery, to the city. I know river birch.
The ginkgo is from China.
So that would not be, 100 years ago, you probably wouldn't have seen one around.
Yeah, you would, but it was brought in as an ornamental tree.
Okay. Sycamore?
Sycamore's native.
Okay. River birch?
Native.
And,
That one was planted, but it's still a native tree.
Okay. And of course, water oak is a native tree.
Very much native.
And Russell, you looked at these trees?
Yes, I would like to speak to this one. I bit my tongue while y'all were paving over that poor child's front yard. This landscape plan is nice, Fairleigh does really good work, but is there any need to cut down a healthy, large tree to plant 3 new ones and say that they're going to grow as large and healthy as the one you just removed? I don't think so. That's my personal opinion, but I'm standing by that. We're considering a landscape plan, and I'm just talking about the tree. The rest of it's fine. But your 3 willow oaks to replace the water oak, and mind you, I would say willow oak's probably a little bit better tree than the water oak. But I've looked at that tree several times. It survived the demolition of the house. There's not a blooming thing wrong with it. It's as healthy as its horse. It's huge. I can't see cutting it down and planting 3 more willow oaks in the same hole it was sitting in, and telling myself, well, they're going to get tall and big. It's tall and big now. So that's my impassioned plea for the life of that tree.
And Madam Chair, I can appreciate that from Mr. Stringer. To me, it's a nice plan, but I feel like my charge is to look at this just like I would if the homeowner was coming and saying they're going to cut that tree down. And so, in that vein, I struggle with seeing just cutting that tree down as well, and would like to see an attempt to save the tree. And it's hard to tell where it's placed on the plan unless I'm just missing it. I can't really see it.
Sure. There is a mark. If you look at the cluster of the 3 trees in the northwest corner, move to about 430, and there's a dot. That's where it is. You're almost there. Go up, please. Up, up, up. Now to my left, right there.
Yeah.
That's where the tree is located.
Yeah.
Our concern is when we start putting in this labyrinth and doing the drainage, that we're going to do harm to that tree. And it seems to us with a tree that has a lifespan of 30 to 50 years, like a water oak, even though it's in good shape, it may not be once we start all of this. And it would be easier now and a better investment for the generations to come after us to go ahead and remove it and put 3 in its place that have a lifespan of over 100 years.
I think it's just difference of opinion. I think
Sure.
I think you could work around it.
Is that the lifespan, Mr. Stringer, of a water oak, 50 years?
Not the ones where I grew up. They have outlived me. I'm 51, and they were big when I was a child.
In any event, I will say I've looked at the plan, looked at it a lot, but again, like Cedric, the taking down of the water oak is giving me a bit of pause. And I understand your concern. You're going to have to do a lot of landscaping here. There's going to be some disturbed ground. I don't know if Russell, if you thought about. I mean, it's
Well,
not gonna
yeah,
be,
I
it's
mean-
not like you're going to lay down some concrete, asphalt, what have you. It's not that sort of thing. But yes, there's going to be some.
If the tree is important, you design around it, and you make things work. That's if this were my project, you would be not throwing off on this plan. It's a lovely plan. I know fairly well. She does really good work. And if this was a blank slate, I'd say it was great. But if this were my project, we'd be looking at, that tree would still be there, and we would have worked around it. And engineers do wonderful things. My son's going to college next fall to engineering school.
I tried that for a semester myself, so good luck to him. I mean, Reverend, any way you could kind of hang on to it? I mean, we can't predict the future. I mean, you go through the whole thing, and this water oak may outlive us all. I mean, probably.
It's a mature tree. We have done some research to see how long water wrecks do last. I have water wrecks in my house here. I had them in Selma, had one follow my mother's house, as you know, John. The idea here is that we've pulled out a pool, so we know we've already disrupted some of the root system in that tree when that pool was pulled out when we did the demolition. When we go in to do the grading, and the labyrinth will be part of it, but I'm not even as worried about the labyrinth as I am about the grading and the drainage, because as you might remember several years ago on Christmas Eve, when it rained so hard, many of us were flooded out, my personal home included, which is in Cloverdale, not in the Garden District. But in the Garden District, that area flooded into the Joshua house and into our parking lot, where several cars on Christmas Eve were lost. So this is also an opportunity for us. The Janetta ditch is right behind those 3 trees, the entrance to it. So it's an opportunity for us to try to work on the drainage issues that have plagued the campus as well. And in talking to Speaks and Associates, they had some concern about the trees and root damage that might be caused as we do grading and drainage there. So the hope was, because it is $1 million investment in this project, that we would go ahead and deal with that now, instead of building this labyrinth, putting in this garden, and then having this tree die and having to take it out. Ripping that out will potentially cause harm to the landscape, the labyrinth, and we could have avoided it had we just gone ahead and done it in the first place. We are not, certainly not putting a water oak back in, and I appreciate that, but I do think the selection of the willow oaks are even more durable. They have a longer lifespan. They'll grow to the same height of the canopy. I hear what Mr. Stringer is saying, and I agree with you, and I don't lightly take a tree down. That is not, as Episcopalians, we have a strong stewardship of creation and really hold that as a vital part of how we believe we are created and in relationship with the earth. But I also know that we're supposed to be good stewards, and this is an opportunity for us to practice some good stewardship. We are replacing natives with natives, and that's important to us too, that every plant in the landscape would be native and would support light and growth, so that we don't contribute to decay or an inability for the land to thrive while it's there.
You want every plant in your landscape to be native?
In this concept, that's the
Okay,
the
you're
desire.
gonna, she's gonna have to do it over. There's,
Sorry?
there's a lot of non-natives in there, which I don't have a problem with, but if you were thinking that's all native, it's not, I'm sorry.
So we talked with Fairley about that, and that was what she had designed for us.
Yeah, yew is not native.
What's not native?
Japanese yew is from Japan. This is a nothing issue. I'm sorry, but that is not an all-native landscape.
Yeah, and I know over the years, Mr. Stringer has definitely charged me with working around trees, and it can be done. It can be done.
Is there anyone from the audience who wants to speak to this? Thank you, Richard.
You're welcome.
Thank
Hello, Miriam Bourne from Old Cloverdale. I think it's horrible to take out not just one, but it says on that presentation that you're taking out 4. But also, trees actually have roots that hold water. You're talking about the fact that there's a water problem. You're going to have more of a water problem if you take out 4 trees and put in baby ones that don't have such a root system. I mean, look at the Dust Bowl. I mean, if you want to talk about, not having, water being held, the trees actually will hold it. But also, I really don't want to see 4 old, magnificent trees taken out. Change your landscape plan. That is my comment.
It's 1.5 old magnificent trees and
1.5
volunteers, and they're
volunteers. Yeah, they're not.
Okay,
they're not a great size.
Okay, all right. Then even 1 or 1.5, don't do that to it. I mean, those are living beings, and they're actually adding to the landscape as well as the look of it. Please don't do that.
Laura Calloway, Garden District Preservation Association. We were concerned with the loss of the lattice inn, but we understood that what would go back would be quite a contribution to the neighborhood. My only concern about the plan is what Mr. Stringer has expressed about that one big tree. And I do understand your reasoning behind it, but it is a shame that a big canopy tree like that can't be incorporated into the design, and that we can't try to do everything we can to keep it. That's where we are.
Any more discussion from the board? May I have a motion on the project?
Madam Chair, I will move to approve the project as presented with one caveat that the large water oak tree not be cut down.
I'd second that one.
All right. It's an approval of the plan with the
Approval of the project with the exception of removal of the water oak.
All right.
Yeah, working around the water.
Working around the water oak.
Correct. And if there are problems in the future, I'll ask for forgiveness and we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I do think it needs to go forward. And I don't want to put it to a complete halt because of one little hiccup.
Now, with that caveat, I mean, I second.
Hmm?
I said, with that caveat, John put a lot to it, so I'll remove my second.
I have thought about this. I really, really have.
All in favor?
I removed my second.
Oh.
You got to get a second. Yeah, because
All right.
John added a lot more to it. I thought he just said work around it, but he said if they lose it, then he'll cross that bridge later. So
Yeah, well, like I said, the one.
To me, it sounded like he was giving them an out.
No.
I
I mean, they do not cut the tree, and 5-10 years from now, if something
Would
comes
you
up-
add, use appropriate tree protective measures?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me withdraw that prior
All
motion
right.
and start
All right.
over.
Try again.
Done that before in court once or twice.
I think John was searching for forgiveness before.
Known the Reverend a few years now. I move that we approve the plan as presented with, under the condition that the water oak tree not be removed and that protective measures in consultation with Mr. Stringer be taken to preserve the water oak.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? All right. Is that just one?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you Sunday.
And I'm sorry you ended up at the end of such a long agenda. All right. Minutes of the last meeting? Oh, we've got our two things.
We have two advisories.
Okay. Has everybody had a chance to look at these advisories on removing chimneys?
No.
No. What do we got?
Who's going to talk about it?
Well, both people are here. Ms. Gordon, you can come on up. Ms. Gordon is the first one. She is at 1828 Grave Street.
The house is 100 years old, and just through the movement of over the years, the chimney has become detached from the house in the attic and alongside. I've had a contractor come out and look at it. When you scroll through all the pictures, you can see that there's a pretty significant gap there. The stretch of time that we had 4 to 5 below freezing days, the house would not get above 46 degrees. And it was due to this separation. It is beyond repair. That is the separation from the house and the chimney you see there. So what I would like to do is have it taken down and then replace it with siding the exact way it is and paint the same color and just make that whole side look the same.
Okay.
All right, so the board understands this is for an advisory. Ms. Gordon will have to come back in March. She has been advised that if she proceeds with removal of the chimney, it is at her own risk in case the board that is present next month has a different opinion. And then, of course, Mr. Hesse is here, but there's also his written opinion at the bottom of the front page.
So, Ms. Gordon, make sure I understand you. Are you saying you're going to put back a fake chimney or no chimney at all?
No, just put back siding that matches exactly what is already there.
You're proposing no chimney going back?
That is correct. It has never been used. It was a gas chimney. I've never used it. And the comments that were emailed to me were, the comment was made that it was unattractive and not ornamental that went along with the house. And so that's just what I'm trying to, and if there's a way, if you were to agree tonight, could we proceed?
That would be at your own risk.
No. Could it get approved?
No, ma'am, because it has not been legally advertised.
No.
So you will have to come back in March. This is strictly an advisory to see what the board thinks about removal of the chimney without replacement.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Robert Hesse, Old Cloverdale Association. Our board discussed this, and while we hate to see the loss of a chimney, we understand that something needs to be done. And replacing with the same siding, we are not opposed to.
Okay. Thank you. It's got a big, I mean, not only is it leaning away from the house, but it's got a big buckle
Right.
in it too.
It's a liability.
Yes. It's dangerous.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we do a motion?
No, ma'am, you just need to tell her if you feel that this is something that you would approve next month.
Is this something we would approve next month? Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's definitely a house liability. I mean, that's definitely a liability,
Yes.
and you definitely don't want to harm people
So
or
you would-
dogs or anything else that might be behind it.
So you would be okay with not requiring that she replace the chimney, that it would be removal with no replacement?
I
I'm
definitely
not.
say removal. The replacement may or may not come about next month. I don't know.
Yeah. For me, I would like to see the chimney go back, but I'm definitely okay with the removal. But that's just me.
Yeah, you can't fix this.
No,
So, I mean, I
no,
think the
it's
removal
not.
is a foregone
The bricks are
conclusion.
just, they're like sand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whether,
Well, and you got a lot of weight pulling down on the house. I had the same problem 20-something years ago, a non-use chimney in the middle that was literally pulling down and
Yes.
after approval had to remove.
I don't think anyone have a problem with the removal of the chimney. I don't know if anyone's going to say you need to put back something.
So is there a way structurally for her to remove the chimney at this time and then keep water out until the March 28th meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Something's got to be done. I mean, if this is the original, I'm sure, to the house, so it's well over 100 years old, or
It's lived a good life.
well, and we've had enough storms in the last few months, and we're going to have some more. And at
Yes.
some point, wrong blow of wind, people don't think it can do something like that, but it can.
It can.
I certainly don't have any problem removing it. And next
Protecting
month
the
we
house.
can, discuss either replacing, not replacing, or maybe putting something there that looks like a chimney, but maybe is not a chimney, if that's, aesthetically to make it look like it originally did, but, you know, there are some options. But yeah, this is,
I think this is
you've got 2 to 3, 4, maybe even 4 inches separation.
Yeah,
so.
this is a safety issue,
Yes.
and I believe, you know, she probably ought to act upon taking the chimney down. This is not salvageable.
Oh, yeah, I'd take it down as soon as
Now, next
possible.
month, someone may say you need to put back a chimney-like object. I don't know. But as a safety issue, I think you need to take that down. Anyone object to that?
No, I'm just trying to figure out why are we at an advisory
Ms.
position?
Bell, I need your microphone, please.
Why are we at an advisory position right now instead of being able to just tell her, yes, you can take it down?
Because this didn't come up until after the legal notice had been sent to the paper and I could not add it.
Gotcha.
It has not been
Okay.
legally advertised, so you cannot officially take business.
Gotcha, thank you.
All right, thank you. I think that
There's
we,
a question in your-
yes,
Can you come to the mic, please?
It's coincidental that I'm in the fireplace industry and I run a company. It appears that what you have going on is a foundation issue where you would have to tear the chimney down anyways, but open to a suggestion to where you may get an approval. If you look at the layout of your home, if you removed your chimney away from your house, your chimney on top of your roof would appear that it was an interior chimney. And so I would think if you looked at that wall, you could side right over it, or potentially if the board had an issue with it not being that, you could also stop your siding, put a veneer brick, it's like a tile, and put it down the wall at a much less cost. And then it would appear, you can get reclaimed brick.
Yeah.
I think you need to say your name too.
Oh, I'm sorry, my name is Austin Campbell.
Y'all are welcome to discuss that after the meeting.
Yeah,
Sure,
absolutely.
I'm sorry.
No.
all right.
But a good idea.
Yeah.
Possibility. But yeah, it
Thank you.
certainly needs to come down as soon as possible for
Right.
safety purposes.
Yes. So what are my next steps? What do I need to do?
I need a formal application from you by March 6th.
And where do I get that?
It's online, or I'll email it to you in the morning.
Okay,
I'll send it to you in the morning.
thank you.
Thank you.
We good? All right.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am.
All right, our next one is, I guess this weather has led to the life of the following chimneys. Austin Campbell, on behalf of Mrs. Smith.
Good evening.
Yes, that's the other one. 1458 South Perry. It's in the agenda folder.
Love this house.
Find it.
Yep. Kind of in the lower reaches of Perry Street. Mr. Campbell, what are we gonna do here? Are you gonna take the chimney down below the roof line and leave the chimney, or take the chimney all the way down?
So we were hoping to take the chimneys all the way down and then roof over them. I've done some research. I'm not as knowledgeable as on historic homes as the board is, I'm sure. But what I have found, the home at 1458 South Perry seems to be one of those, it was the working man's home, the four square, ended about the 1920s, and you didn't see chimneys as a commodity in the home at that point, because you're getting off of coal, you're starting to burn wood, you know, and it was more of a luxury item to homeowners. And in this case, it's very unfortunate for Ms. Smith. I'm here on her behalf. She's unwell and she could not attend the meeting. But we're looking for that advisory to go ahead and start taking them down to stop the really bad water penetration issue that's going on. There's 4 chimneys on the home. 2 of the ones that you see in this first picture, there has there's really bad deterioration going on at all the mortar joints, just like the previous issue at hand. The chimneys are unlined, they're unfunctional, they serve no purpose to the house, whether or not heating or aesthetics. You can see that chimney's in a dead valley. These things are just, they're brick sponges.
Are any of these chimneys on the outside? It looks like they're all on the inside of the house.
They're all interior wall.
So you take these chimneys, I mean, right now, if these chimneys were gone, it wouldn't change the outside appearance other than, of course, you drive by, you see a chimney, and then you drive by the next time, well, chimney's gone.
Right.
Okay. I understand. And they're basically, looks like there's some water damage, roof.
Well, I have pictures attached of all the water damage in the ceilings. The two that you see, that's the biggest water penetration issues. But I mean, she's got also a son that lives in the home that has a terminal illness.
Yeah.
And just the overall air quality, when you walk in the home, you smell mold and mildew, and it's coming from these chimneys.
Okay.
Well, again, I had a non-use chimney. Now, mine had fallen away from the foundation, was literally hanging there. I don't know if this is the case, but I don't know how the rest of the board feels. Obviously, these chimneys have been neglected over the years. You could replace them, but you could not repair these to do anything, it sounds like.
You're correct. So these chimneys, they're common for the time period of being unlined, so they have a single width wall. But what happens when you burn coal, you start getting a very acidic type of byproduct,
right.
And it's really bad. It starts eating away on those mortar joints, and so if you look like the two on the back of the house, they're in the worst shape. But I mean, they've already fallen down. I would assume they started at 6 or 7 foot tall above the roof, like the two like the two on the front.
Yeah.
That one in particular, I don't know how tall it was, but I would just assume that it was just as tall as the other ones.
I mean, capping these things is not going to accomplish much, if anything.
Well, capping this one back here is not going to do anything because you've got all that water sitting in that dead valley where that chimney comes through. There's two of them on like that.
Okay, yeah. So you got some roof damage also. I mean,
yeah.
Is there, I'm sorry, separation from the chimney and the roof? Is that what's causing some of the leakage in there? You think flashing appears to be gone?
Yeah, I don't think that these chimneys even have much flashing. You can see roof tar there. There may be, but I mean, it may have been touched 10 different times in 100 years by roofers.
The standard Montgomery flashing, tar.
Do I? Yeah.
slap some tar up
Just
there
put some
and
tar
call me in a couple of years.
Fix it.
Well, again, I can understand the problem because one of the first things I had to do when I bought my house in CIA was get one of those removed, and wished I'd have known it was going to have to do that before I bought the house, but hey, live and learn. Personally, I don't, I don't think I would certainly wouldn't object to the chimneys being removed since they're interior. It's not like the last case where you can see the exterior, it goes up the side of the wall. As far as I mentioned with the previous one, I know that chimneys were they were a characteristic of this house. If there would be something that you could construct a faux brick that maybe put it just on the roof to make it look like there's a chimney, but I mean, there's nothing underneath it. Is that, you ever done anything like that, Austin?
We have done that in the past, but that's generally when the homeowner wants it now. I know we're not talking about what the homeowner necessarily wants here.
Yeah.
But anytime that the only reason you would put a chimney back for not being used is to preserve the purpose of the look, which I'm hoping that we can get past. But anytime you put a penetration in a roof, you're susceptible to water penetration because you can't put a roof over that roof.
Well, and I wasn't required to replace, I had two chimneys, one on the outside like the previous lady, that one's fine, but there was one on the back of the house, which, walking through the house, you wouldn't even know it's there, but you could see it from the back, and it was actually falling away, the foundation, and I didn't have to replace it. But, I mean, that's just, again, it's a little late, my brain's kind of buzzing, scattered around, but.
It seems to me you're saying we got little brick sponges up there, and you can't do anything with the little brick sponges. They're crumbling away.
Correct.
Again, just like the other lady, this may be a safety issue, and they may need to come down. I can't tell you whether or not they'd say they'd stay down and you just keep the roof down low, or you have to build some sort of brick chimney back up, or some sort of simile of a chimney. That's for next month, because we don't know what's going to happen. But it seems like either way, you could not use this existing brick chimney to maintain.
No.
So is that kind of help in that direction? That while this needs to maybe come down, we can't tell you whether or not it may come up. You might need to make a new one or not.
Could we get some sort of direction on if we were required to rebuild them, could we just rebuild the front two that are visible from the main road, since it's not a corner lot?
I can.
That way we can.
Well, the other two are already down, right?
Yes.
Do I know?
The only two are these two in the front. The two in the back have already
No,
been
we have
fallen.
not touched anything. They've just fallen down over time.
Well, we wouldn't want to put the ones in the back because they're sitting in those dead valleys.
Yeah.
You just have the same thing over again.
Yeah, you don't want that.
So only the two in this photo, there's a photograph, it shows one on either side of the house. You can't see from the road, the two in the back.
You cannot see.
Again, I'm purely aesthetic. If you can make, when someone's driving by, one day they see as it is, the next day you've done your work, maybe put something that looks like a chimney that's not a chimney and they don't even notice the difference. Yeah, I think that would be probably plenty, but I agree with Katie. These are large chimneys. They are, I'm sure, very heavy, and we've got storms coming, and I'm surprised they haven't lost one already, especially, based on what you say about the condition these things are in. So I certainly would have no problem voting to approve the removal of all the chimneys. And, again.
It might be a case-by-case basis for the two front chimneys.
Yeah, that's possible, but certainly all of them need to come down because they are a hazard, and if the elderly lady with a son that has obviously has some health conditions, they need to be sealed up, and you got water, it means you're going to have mold.
Right.
Means that it needs to be taken care of. So that's my 2 cents on that.
That's our.
If you're looking for feedback right now, most likely what I would be looking for is something going back to give it that same look on those that you can see from the street.
Yeah, and we've had precedent of that before, of putting a simulated chimney because of like that one lady's house where it was just about to fall off, or this one where they've just turned into mush. So, and it may even be kind of move it out of the valleys so it doesn't look, it doesn't create more issues. And wouldn't it be a bad thing to maybe have a roof plan to where these chimneys sit, so we know what we're talking about from like a roof plan point of view?
Yeah.
Because to sit in the valleys is bad.
Yeah, sitting in the valleys is very bad. I'm not sure how we may go about moving them because that would require you to, if you're putting that much weight on a roof, the roof won't handle it. That chimney will just fall. You'd have to then build from the ground up if you're moving.
You need
them.
to build I've done it where we built a crib in the attic, and then because it wasn't. This might be, the attic is so tall and then the chimney is so tall that you couldn't do that. But, for a regular chimney, building a crib in the attic will work.
I might be the only person up here, but I disagree with putting anything back. I think they need to be removed, and I think you need to have a roof. To me, they just look odd. Those two big sticks, they just look really odd, like somebody had a whole lot of bricks left over.
And that goes to support my point of that these chimneys were not originally designed to be put inside of this house. I think that was a part of an upgrade at the time because of where the physical location at, because anybody, 1910, 110 years ago could have said, I don't need to put this thing in this valley, but this only place because they want 4 fireplaces in there.
And that may be the way we vote next month, but
Yeah.
right now, I think we just want to have them promote maybe removing the life safety issue.
Well, I just wanted to let you know that I'm not.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, no.
Miss Common Sense.
Right. And I don't want to move in too much haste because of where the house is being in a historic district. But if I understood right, we should go ahead and take them down and at least get them roofed over, and then come back on next month to potentially see if we need to put the visible ones back up.
Right.
Yeah, that's
And
about
get the
as good.
official, and then we can officially, it'll be on the record that we approved the removal of the chimneys.
Okay.
We'll vote on that, and because it is a very big safety issue, I mean, we can't give you permission, but we can say that if you had asked for it, we would say, yeah, get them down because they're dangerous and other things. Now, again, whether or not to do anything to replace them, we don't know yet. We'll think about it. You come back next month, and then we'll kick that football around a bit.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
I will email
Thank
you
you.
an application as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Did anyone have any additions or corrections to the minutes from the last meeting?
No.
When,
All right.
Second.
when is our next?
All in favor?
March
No.
28th. All right, election of chair and vice chair. One more thing, real quick.
Okay.
I nominate existing chair and vice chair.
Katie's vice, right?
Katie is vice.
I second it.
Please vote.
Unless somebody
All
else wants-
approved? Opposed?
Unless somebody else wants to.
All right, we have
chair
a,
vice.
we have a re-elected. Thank you, ladies, for your service.
Do we not choose Hillary?
There'll be a little something extra in your check.
She's seldom here.